Here we go.
And some trying to figure some things out.
I could barely hear, but
It's been one of those days. Not like a terrible day or anything like that. Just like highs and lows, winds and roads, you know?
This is different for him.
And yeah, trying to figure some things out. I guess so. Yes and no. I've been battling some different things, different thoughts, dealing with some different thoughts. And definitely hasn't been easy. Definitely been going back and forth on a couple things. And I'm really excited because I'm going to see one of my friends today that is not from this area. He's a former missionary, returned missionary. And he has returned home. Elder Morgan, I'm super excited to see him. So, I don't know, life is crazy. Life is really crazy. It just really makes you wonder sometimes about the speed, the pace, the run, the chill, the wait, the look, the wonder. Man, a lot of those kinds of things. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good, honestly. I feel good now. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I haven't seen the movie MacGruber, and I don't think I ever will, because it's just... I'm sure it's full of just lurid content, aka just stuff you don't want to watch. Gross humor. Gross, lowbrow humor. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's a part in there where MacGruber, he's definitely a parody of MacGyver, aka Richard Dean Anderson, who is awesome. Figure all kinds of things out. And yes, it's an 80s TV show that might be a little over the top. Try to get comfortable with this piece. But there's a part in that movie in MacGruber, it's just a clip, it's a meme I've seen circulated. And he's like freaking out because he's the hero, he's the male lead, he's the leader, he's the star of the show, star of the movie. And he's going, in the movie, it's making fun of the fragility of... it's making fun of the fact that, well, when guys don't know what they're doing, sometimes they really freak out. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into what the actuality is, but in the movie, he's like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's just like freaking out because he doesn't know.
So just so you know, I'm hearing everything in parables. So this is a lot of fun.
Like,
I know I'm not reacting right now.
What I'm doing, you know, and that's just really funny because it's funny because it's like, you know, jokes on you because like that's such a part of life that we all deal with. But the moment someone has to deal with it and actually has to deal with it, you know, we can go deep with that, but it's just a really funny clip. And I can't remember how I got to this point talking about that. But yeah, because I know what I'm doing now. I'm driving. I'm going to a place. Cut definitely.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sad because Cafe Rio, which is right over there, closed.
Get some cookies.
That is. You guys notice in my third eye right there? I find it noticeable sometimes. It's weird. It's like specifically right there. It's noticeable sometimes. I call it my third eye. I don't know. I'm not getting into that third eye stuff anymore. Not like that. Not like I used to. You know.
Good.
But I've been struggling a little bit. I've been struggling. Because the girl I like, and this is going to be whiny, the girl that I like is really cool. But I'm going back and forth about things because I like her and we're talking, but we're not dating. We're not exclusive. We're not like any of those things, And we just met really like a week ago at the singles conference. But the part I'm struggling with is she's a little younger than me. And she's like 4 years younger than me, basically. Which to me sounds great, right? Sounds great in theory, right? And there's another girl who I liked, and I guess I am attracted to her. I guess I'm attracted to her energy, basically, at times. But I'm also attracted to the fact that she likes me. And she's older. She's older than me. She's like 4 years older than me. So I've got 4 years younger, 4 years older, basically. And they are two ends of the spectrum. And I'm so not trying to like compare. I'm a dude.
Oh my goodness. Bro, you have to compare. You have to. You got to weigh the scales. You got to, like, there's this quote from, what's his name? The president, whatever that president was. Roosevelt, I believe it was. He said, comparison is the thief of joy. And there's some truth to it. It does have home field advantage, but the idea is, you could be the ninth best in the world, but then you compare yourself to the 8 other guys that are better than you, and now your joy is removed, right? You take second place and you get silver, which is amazing, but then you look up and compare yourself to the better. So I made my own quote. That's what he was going for, but that's not how people read it. They say, oh, comparisons in general are wicked. It's the comparison that's the problem. But the quote is a reduced form of what it actually is. What the quote is actually saying is, comparison of others who are better than you is the thief of joy. That's what he was saying, but you can't have a quote that big because it violates code principles. For example, I have a quote, prayers speak louder than actions. I love it, but it's talking about righteous prayers, and if someone doesn't pick up on that, they could get destroyed. And it's talking about works of the flesh, because prayer is an action. So 80% of the missionaries don't like it. It's one of my favorite quotes that's hated. I have quotes that I like more that are loved by everyone, but this is my favorite one that's hated by everyone. And you have to have home field advantage. So, my problem isn't with the quote, because the quote's pretty good. The problem is with the fruit of the quote. People misinterpret the quote, and they think that quote means comparisons are trash. Oh, comparisons are the thief of joy. No. Unrighteous comparisons. And here's the thing. So I made my own quote, and it's based off it. I don't know, top 50. I have a lot of quotes. I love to quote myself. I have a green book and I have a purple book. I filled up the whole green book with quotes. Some of it's by man, some of it's by angels, some of it's by the Holy Spirit, some of it's from God. And I'll tell you this. Here's the quote. Comparison is not the thief of joy. It is a high-stakes war resulting in true joy and true misery. That's a quote for you. It's longer, but comparison is only bad when you're losing. That could be a quote too. If you don't compare, you don't win. And it's kind of, you've probably heard the saying, A tie is like kissing your sister. I remember with the little kids. I was a little kid. I had a bunch. LDS on the mom's side of the family, so there's just kids everywhere. And it was me and whatever, 5 kids, 6 kids. We had grandma and tons of kids and similar age. And we were actually wondering. We weren't trying to. We just wanted to know. We wanted to get some insight of Grandma's heart. So we asked her, which one of us is the favorite? Your favorite? We're genuinely interested. We don't want to lose, but we don't we wouldn't freak out if we didn't win that. I don't think we would. Who cares? It's just for fun. Which one's your favorite? All she had to do was pick someone and give a reason. You know what she said? Oh, I can't pick that, All equal, all same. You know how, and in her mind, maybe she's doing the right thing and she's whatever. We were pissed. Pissed. All of us. It's like, we want to think less of you now. We hate that answer. All I had to do was pick someone, and we would have looked up to him like, whoa, that's awesome, good for you. But instead, she slaps us all in the face. And it's like, how are you 88 years old? Job 12:12 comes to life. You're supposed to be smarter than us. And you don't even know your favorite. You're an idiot. You wonder why kids think you're an idiot. This is why. You're an idiot. Or she just doesn't love us. She sees us all as little kids. She doesn't even know who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, who's 4. She has no depth of love for any of us. That's how we felt. It was a time, Now, maybe if she said, ooh, that's a close one, and then she named 20 things for him, 20, 20, 20, 20, and then she's going back and forth. Okay, I can feel some love there. And it's like, and me, for me, for example, who do I love more, mom or dad? Easy, dad. But some of them aren't that close. Some are a lot harder. Who do I love more? My brother Justin or my half-sister Heather that doesn't live here, who's Christian? Because Justin is not Christian. But I've known him for 25 years 30, 31 years? 6 more years. I've known him a long time. And he's a guy. And I'm starting to like girls a lot now, but historically I like guys more than girls and stuff. But it's like my dad feels special. And he's way better than mom. He would feel offended, I think, if it was a tie. When he's that much better. And also, LOL, don't tell Justin. My dad loves me more than Justin. The Book of Mormon says don't compare people and stuff. It's talking about unrighteous comparison. The Bible talks about righteous comparisons. Jacob I loved, Esau I hated. The word hated is not, there's 3 kinds of hate. There's unrighteous hatred, which is found in 1 John 3:15. If you have it, you'll go to hell for anything ever. There is righteous hatred, Ecclesiastes 3:8, Proverbs 8:13, Psalm 5:5, Psalm 97 verse 10, Amos 5:15. So many verses. And then there's hierarchy hatred, which is Matthew 10:37. If you don't hate your family, you're not worthy to be my disciple. And that just means love less. Love less, hierarchy hatred. Love less, hatred. Okay. God expects you to choose him over any idol that he creates, including heaven itself. And by the time we get to heaven, hopefully we love God enough to not get lost in heaven. But hellfire in heaven is where you just, you play too many video games too long. You get lost in the... God told me a parable, or God told me something that happened. In heaven, there was this kid, very young. He was maybe like 200 or 300 years old. Just a super little kid. And he ends up going into the best cookie dough factory in the cosmos. And the cookies, and you don't get sick. It's an asymmetric net positive, these cookies. You don't get sick in heaven. You don't get full. And the thing about the cookies is they get a little bit better. A little tiny bit better every second. And it's bottomless. And it's just... So he's in there feasting on the cookies. And he gets drunk on the cookies, basically. And he just feasts them for about 112 years, whatever. Which is a long time. Which is a very long time. Especially for... It's like 50% of the years that he's lived. And so he's in there for eternity. Which is aionios in the Greek of an age. And he's a Christian. He loves Jesus and all that. But he's just feasting on this cookie dough, and Jesus ends up walking into the factory, and he's glowing and all that, and he's just like, "Hey, no judgment or anything." The kid didn't even sin, right? He just ate some cookies. He's just eating some cookies. He sees Jesus. First thing he did, freaked out. Yells at the top of his lungs. He whips out a flamethrower, burns the entire factory down. That's the first thing he does. And then he runs to Jesus crying, and Jesus already knows what's going on, but he's just like, what's going on, little one? And he says, I just ate these cookies for 120 years and 112 years, and I didn't even pray once, never thought of you. And I just never wanted to happen again. I just never wanted to happen again. Will you forgive me and all that. And he says, if I ever go a few days without praying, can you tell me about it? And I made a covenant, a vow. And now for all of eternity, it's like, he might be swimming or he might be roller coaster. And then the 5 minutes he gets the little shock collar thing or whatever, a little squeeze on his ankles. And he goes, oh my goodness, they haven't thought about Jesus in 5 days, and then it'll never happen again. Then he thinks about the cookie dough factory and repents and runs to Jesus. Shows the power of covenants too, the parable, the teaching lesson. It's idolatry and covenants. The idolatry keeps you from Jesus, and then and it can be a good thing. Like, you can idolize anything. But it was just cookie dough. And then he was, and then you have the covenants, and that shows how good the covenants are. Covenants keep, in this case, they do keep you. I mean, the temple garments are a reminder of the covenants, and the covenants drive you to righteousness, holiness, Christ triumph. I mean, depending on what covenants you have. The Bible does warn against making covenants. If you're going to break them at a high frequency, they might not be worth it. Ecclesiastes 5:5, better to not make a vow than to make it and break it. David Abedno was talking about the if you want to go to bed, if you want to get scared, read the DNC or read the scriptures of what they say about covenant breakers. You know, it's not good. It's not as good. That's not a good one. But if you keep them, you're better off making them and keeping them than not keeping them. And a verse that really scares me is Matthew 5:33-37. But there's just like every other verse in the Bible. Go to level 2, go to level 3, go to level 4. Context, 20 before, 20 after. Who's he speaking to? What are they going for? It changes the face value reading. Also, going into the Greek can help. I have 16 Greek words memorized, and pretty much all of them are or have been used to change the meanings of things. I mean, I have Koikaya memorized, and that's just kind of almost worthless knowledge. Koikaya is flattery in the Greek. It's just, I don't know why I wanted to memorize it, but I did. I thought it was fun. Koikaya, It makes you sound smart. That's actually an underrated thing about knowledge. If you have really important things to say, but you can't answer questions very well and you're an idiot, sometimes people will find that out. Not always, but it's possible. Like, when I'm talking to missionaries, I could be 10 times smarter than them, but I don't find that out for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours because we don't know. We can only say one thing at a time. It's hard to get all the information out. If I ask a difficult question, the guy hits a home run, I just assume there's a lot more in the bag. But sometimes people within, even missionaries, 10 minutes in, it's like he bombs on an easy question. It's like, then he doesn't know this, doesn't know that. It's hard to listen to anything he says because he's not very smart. Now, maybe other people don't think like that, but for me, if someone knows everything about everything in 25 topics in a row, and then I ask a very important 26th question, and it's very important, and he gives an answer that maybe I don't agree with, but he speaks with conviction, and he thinks he's 100% sure. I look back at the 25 questions that he just answered, and I say, wow, if he's right about all those, he's probably right about this too. And then it makes me question my own doctrine at that point. Now, somebody else might write off the other 25 answers, and they don't really care how good or bad they were. All they care about is what they just said. But for me, it's like when I get hit with this is gonna sound general conference. They're more polished, but they're also more authoritative, and they're more. It's just a better. That's a good example. I mean, it's a really good brand. You go to church, local church. It might be just as good, but the brand not as good. They just kind of seem like a regular person versus an apostle. But I mean, it takes a lot to get baptized, get a priesthood, go up there, talk in front of all the people. I mean, a lot of our average members can compete with some of the pastors out there. Sometimes a lot better than the other pastors who went to college, get paid, and preach full time and stuff. It's like I did go way overboard though. I was sitting in church, and God, if there's one thing God likes doing, it's taxing arrogance and taxing pride and humbling kings, and it's like the thing with Floyd Mayweather. He's 50 now. He's extremely arrogant, but what I heard was he prays like 12 hours a day, and he's humble when no one's around. So God's like, whatever, dude. Like, I'm not gonna. Although he did lose in the Olympics, but they rigged it there, so no one really believes it, and it's not on his official record. But that was a humbling experience, and he said it actually helped me. It helped me because I was like, whoa, I could lose. I didn't even know that. Because he used to, he actually broke his left hand, I think it was. Or maybe his right. No, he broke his right hand, and he's righty. And he broke it pretty bad. But he still wanted to box. And they're like, you're kidding. And he goes, well, no one can hit me. So they can't win, first of all. And I can just hit him a few times in the left, and then I win. And if we don't tell him my right hand's broken, the guy's going to be scared of my right hand. I'll just fake it. I'll just fake the right. And we're going to pick the worst boxers in the world. And I'll just keep beating up on them. And then that's how he built up his record with a broken hand, which is pretty savage to think about. He's beating up, professional boxers with a broken hand. But Conor McGregor is something that God told me about him. He's going to lose his next fight. But and I made a video about it in 2023. But they asked him a question like, you against Jesus, one-on-one in the octagon. Who wins it? And he goes, oh, there's not a man alive that can beat me, but he's not alive. We have to raise from the dead. And then he goes, I'd still, he said, I'd still whip his ass, And there's a video of that by TMZ, and I'd still whip his ass. And, yeah, he ended up fighting Khabib next. And Conor was beating like all the number one in the world guys. He get these lucky punches to the face and knocking guys out and stuff. He went from zero to hero from Ireland, this guy. But yeah, he plays Khabib, who has never lost, and he's a fighter, and he goes in as like a 2-1 underdog, so he's supposed to lose. But everyone loves him, and they bet a lot on him. But he ended up getting choked out in the third round. Yeah. He tapped out. And his legacy was kind of not really the same after that. And then he kind of got a little bit more humble. But he still wasn't all the way there. Then I got a dream of him losing. So that I made a dream, and then I got a dream again pretty recently. I didn't make a video about it, but I texted my friend. So he's going to lose. I also had a dream of the Sharks losing their next game, which ends up being opening day. So if you want to watch the Sharks lose. In the dream, unless they rig it, right? If they get this video and rig it. I'm an open theist. But the devil would have to invest a lot of resources to rig a professional hockey game. But yeah, the Sharks, in the dream they were losing 8. They lost 8-0. They're probably not going to lose 8-0, but they will just lose the game. And in the center of the ice there was Brittany and Forrest, and they are a couple. Brittany is a Christian. Forrest is a Jew that doesn't know that Jesus isn't God. So very superficial Jew, because he thinks that Jews believe in the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So he's not a real Jew, and she's not she's not up to my standards for certain depths of Christianity. It's like, there's, when people say I'm Mormon's Christian, it's like, well, there's 26 definitions. This Catholic even made one, and he goes, well, if you use the real definition, which is follower of Christ, then yeah, they are. He says, but hear me out. There's these other definitions, and they just deny the Nicene Creed, and they think God earned his glory by being a man and stuff. Listen, the thing about, let me macro into this for a second. And I was talking to Sam Stark about this too, and I remember my Holy Spirit dropped for the first time in 2 debates. I was not prepared, and it's a gems before swine doctrine. It's even a gems before pearls. The Community Church of Christ is built on, we don't understand Joseph Smith's last sermon. That's where their theology starts today. And they think he's a fallen prophet because they don't understand it, and then they build their theology around that. I ended up, and I really liked their religion, especially when I was Mormon fluid, and they believe a lot of the things that I believe. But June 1st, 2025, the prophet dies, the prophet of the church. They have the same thing, Q15, Q70s, and they ships and all that. But only 250K members. Well, the prophet dies, and now they have a woman. And what I realized was there's 7 women in the quorum of the 15, because when you get the Melchizedek priesthood, you can get all of that stuff. So they're all over the place. There's women in the Q70, and there's women. I think our church is perfect. I like how we have an elite slice of the Relief Society with a hierarchy there. But I don't know about mixing them in. But it's whatever. It's like they supposedly got a revelation. It's all good. It's like, I mean, we send out sister missionaries and they speak in church and stuff. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but what I didn't like was they weren't very awesome. They weren't very cool. I watched their interviews. Who are you? What do you do? How smart are you? How much do you know this religion? How much do you know God? And they were kind of just, I mean, they don't have a single Oaks, or definitely not a Bednar. They don't have a Christofferson. They don't have anyone. They don't have Eyring. They don't have anybody. They look. I mean, whew. I want to be nice here. I got the laughing emojis there. But anyways, I just not my cup of tea. I did not feel like they were inspired, and they went from being like sometimes you investigate a church and it gets way better, and sometimes you investigate it and it gets worse. And I was subscribed to on YouTube. They only have 4,000 subs, and I was just okay. I'm dropping these guys to like 30th or 40th. It's one of those churches where you go in to preach, you don't go in to learn, which is most churches for me. I already know so much more than I need to know. I know that sounds arrogant, but the Bible talks about that. Like, it's like money. Knowledge is like money, diminishing returns at the top. It's like, okay, you have $50 million. Do you need another 10 million? Yeah, it'd be nice. It's like, well, yeah, is it though? Okay, well, I have $1 billion, but you know what I really want? 1.2 billion. Okay. Swedenborg is my second favorite religion as of today, which is whatever today is, July something, or June, whatever. I don't even know where we are right now. He says there's this table. There's 3 heavens that he saw, and there was 10,000 hells. And the hells were infused with mercy and love, and people were beautiful on the outside. Beautiful. And just wicked dark on the inside. But by God's grace, he's like, well, let's make them beautiful. So, but they're all just selfish, basically. But the one that I thought was kind of something, it was a table. And there's these 6 super billionaire banker type guys. And they're all looking at a pile of dust. And it's money. It's like they think, and the dust is money. And they think they own it. And they all think they own it. They all think they have 100% equity in the dust. But not all 6 of them can own 100% of it at the same time. But it doesn't matter. And they don't care. They all just think they have it. They're kind of just, it's just kind of just, that's crazy, huh? But they're getting all this euphoria in their mind. Like, oh, the money. It's like looking at the Lord of the Ring or it's like Bitcoin, it's 100.0% imaginary, and it's in your mind. Yeah, but if we work at this together and we throw our money, it's like, it's fake, but they know it's fake, then nobody cares. Yeah, well, I think it's real. Yeah, well, look at my Lamborghini that I just bought by selling a tenth of my Bitcoins after buying it low and dumping it on someone who thinks it's going to go higher because someone else is going to buy it. And there's so many billions of people in the world, and there's so much money, and they can print money and buy it, and they can buy and sell back to each other. There's all sorts of scams to pump it, and then they dump it, and then they dump it on the news to get you to dump it after it dumps, and it's worthless. And let me tell you how it's worthless, and then it gets bottom, and then people buy it up, and then they go, "Oh, we were wrong," and then the news pumps it, and everyone's, "Oh, it's going $1 million." It's just, I don't know if you know anything about the money world, money crazy, but those people who are really into that, they're around this table, they're looking at it. It's the dust, and they were maximally satisfied. That's all they get in money. But anyways, back to why I paused it. Comparisons. I call them comparisons sometimes. It looks like you got what we call a first world problem. You're dating two girls. One of them is young and dumb, and the other one is old and gold, but they're just different. And the vibe and this, and it's a choice that you have to make because of these absurd monogamy laws. I'm just kidding. It's because God has one woman for us. And actually in Swedenborg Christianity, he's the only guy. He says 99.8% of people in heaven have a wife. And you have one wife and you love her and stuff. And it's just if you want one, you get one. You know? And if you really don't want one, then you don't get one. And LDS has that. You get the divine feminine. And you bring her with you, and then even if you don't, there's the 1,000-year millennial reign. And if you think about it, if you think about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints gospel, it's salvation, that's a path. There's general salvation, but then there's a path to farm up the depths of salvation. And the church is built where the end zone of the religion is like the 13th point of the gospel, I guess you could say, would be marriage. Because the idea is if God is love and he's love dominant and this religion is supposed to be love and stuff, you start getting more and more love as you go. And the highest form of love on earth is husband and wife being married. And it's figurative and all that stuff. And then you can produce children that you love. So there's more love literally spawning from your wife's, from your wife. You put a slice, you basically mix the DNA together, and then you can create a new character. And the character is little God. Little God grows up, he or she gets married, they have love. Love creates love. It's a love base. You have to be in love. Is the idea. So it makes sense. Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a good wife finds a good thing. So yeah, that's kind of the religion there. And I feel like even without the church, people are just driven to marriage. I mean, it's a little bit different in the last days. There's a lot of lust out there, and there's a lot of selfishness, but like even in the secular world, like people will shack up, and they're rich, and they still won't have babies because they'll have the birth control or whatever, you know. And but what I really enjoyed, I was watching a streamer who was. His name was, I'm not going to say his name. It's too wicked. Just wicked guy. And he actually was number one in the world for subscribers, I think, for a few weeks, or he was the fastest growing channel of all time, or something. But he was like a big guy. Then he quit. He came back. And whenever I was watching this Q&A, they're gonna have kids. He says, "No, we're not gonna have kids," and everyone's ripping into him. "Oh, you're selfish. You don't want kids," and he's like, "Whoa, whoa," and it was like an overwhelming, like, majority, like, people, like, especially having the resources to easily provide for the kids. It's like it didn't even make it just doesn't even make sense. It's like people are like really mad at him. For me, I have the LDS Holy Ghost, and it is so ginormous. And it's like, oh, you know what I mean? And it's just leading me, guiding me, walking beside of me. And, I just know I'm going to get married. And I'm going to have as many kids as possible. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Whoa. No, I can't talk about that right now. Yeah, true. Anyways, back to the comparisons. I want to talk about this really quick because I keep getting sidetracked. God cares about our comparisons. He wants us to compare things. And God cares about who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, who's 4, who's 5, and the margins. I created a term called micro-idolatry. And it's just where you idolize something, where you love something too much, something that you shouldn't love that much. And it might not be as much as God, but it's just an obsessive amount. Like, for example, Justin Hubbard. I don't think you idolize hockey or the NHL or those teams, the Capitals. I don't think you idolize them, not at all. You love God way more than hockey, really. But I do think you micro-idolize it. And you did just post a video on, like, on some celebrity that died. I just made a video. My phone was full, so it actually deleted it. It just happens all the time. My phone malfunctions and I lose the video. But I did make a video for you about the guy from Linkin Park who died. I remember buying that song, I believe. No, it was already on the game, Guitar Hero. What I've Done. It's a very easy song to play, but anyways. I'm very, very good at Guitar Hero. I don't know if I've sent you my Guitar Hero. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I definitely want to do it. I think you'll enjoy it. If you want to impress someone, Latter-day Saints are easy to impress because they like to be impressed. They want to be impressed, and they don't suppress the impressed. They don't suppress the impression. They don't suppress it because they're generally happy for you, whereas other people, they'll pretend like they're not impressed because they feel threatened, they feel weak, they feel hurt that they can't do that. You know what one of the most common things I get when I tell people I bowl a perfect game or 20 perfect games, you know, a very common, I don't know about the most common, but one of the big answers I get is, dang. First they say, dang, and then they say, my best game is like 132, or I can't even break 120, and then they self-sabotage themselves. And the reason they bring it up so quick is because they can't stop thinking about themselves. They can't let you have your moment. They gotta relate it back to themselves, and they think that they're hyping you up. Dang, I could barely break, 150. And then they play the victim card on your success. I'm not saying it's like a sin or something. I'm just saying it's interesting. That's very common. But a Latter-day Saint, they might say that. They might say that, but they're much more likely not to. And even if they do, they'll have their moment for a little few seconds, and then they'll just shower you with blessings. Like I remember in that room over there, I had two Latter-day Saints, and one of them didn't really know much about it, but he was trying his best to compliment me. And I mean, Latter-day Saints, they just like that kind of stuff, and they like to see other people succeed and all that stuff. But anyways, back to what I was saying. You love the hockey team, and you made a 25-minute video on how the singer from Linkin Park died. So you're probably idolizing not just that singer, but the band, and the whatever. But micro idolize, it's where you honestly love something more than I'm comfortable with, or love something more than God's comfortable with, love something more than you're comfortable with. Those would be 3 ways to micro idolize something. If the bishop, like if it's not a sin. Put it like this. First, what is it? 1 Corinthians 10:31? I forget the verse. Colossians 10, I don't know. Let's look it up. That's rare for me. Justin, you know how rare that is. It's called Bring Your Entertainment to God verse. Everything you do, do it for God. That's what it is. And yep, wow. Oh, there you go. I thought I forgot it. Didn't. 1 Corinthians 10:31, where they eat or drink or whatsoever do the glory of God. So first things first, if you're going to micro-idolize something, one of the ways you can get around it is you do it for God, and you do it with God and all that stuff. Don't forget God when you do entertainment. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense, right? But yeah, for me, it was like, I'm over here thinking about God all day, and I love Him. And I couldn't imagine taking my eyes off the Lord for 25 minutes to make a video about a non-believer, and then just pour love into that dead guy. I couldn't believe it. Now, 10 years, like 20 years, 20 years ago, yeah, that wouldn't be weird at all. But just the way that I'm living and the way that I view you as a person. You have the vlogs and you say what's going on. It's like, okay, whatever. But it's like, in the Latter-day Saint worldview, we love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and our neighbor as ourself. And micro-idolatry is where it's like, I don't know, I just don't feel like we're loving God with all of our mind on that one. And the hockey thing, I grew out all of that stuff. The A's and the Giants, I used to like them. I went to the games. I love Barry Bonds. I had a Barry Bonds poster in my room. My parents bought me a poster wicked, by the way. I mean, if you're going to have a poster of a man in your room, you know, the prophets are, that's fine. But, I don't know, just unbelieving athletes, and he's just an arrogant unbeliever, like, type of guy who's really good at sports, and it's just, I remember I took it down whenever, but when I got older or whatever, but I couldn't imagine getting a rush from a sports team winning or hitting a home run, or just, it's just not the same as when I was a little kid. And I'm just really close to Jesus. I mean, plus I got really desensitized. I used to be a professional sports bettor, and I was just really good at math, and I would find the flaws in the betting lines. Wouldn't really know the players or the games that much. It's just, wow, these guys are valuing this team too much, and I'd watch the markets move the lines. And in professional video games, I made a lot of money there. Just really busted lines. Just idiots everywhere. And I went in and took all their money. But really, they were giving me too much money in the sign-up bonuses and the deposit bonuses and all that. So that there was a lot of money there, but it did mess me up. The money messed me up, and the sports messed me up. I felt like Mother Teresa at the end of her life. She basically sold too big a percentage of her soul to the second greatest commandment, and she started doing like a victory tour on how amazing she was, telling people, oh yeah, and God's like, and she was praying 13 hours a day before that, but she ended up dropping down to 3 hours a day, and God was like so pissed. And the God of Catholicism will actually throw you in hell. So, so watch out for that if you're Catholic. And he's like, no, this is idolatry. And she goes, no, it's not. And she's like, these people need me, all this. She started Bible bashing God and whatever. And God's just like, you're ridiculous. And then she started seeing these statues of God crying, statues of Jesus weeping, which is very, very rare that someone would make those statues. And eventually, God told her, okay, I'm going to throw you in hell. And, she repented. And she started turning down those interviews, locking her house, and just praying. And God was so happy about it. She died. There's only been 5 people ever to have a 100% chance of being in heaven. Canonized saints, they're called. And they go out there and they beg God for a meteor shower on a day where there's not supposed to be a meteor shower, and they need like 30 shooting stars in like 6 minutes or something. So it's really obvious, and they have a team of witnesses, and it never comes, so they never canonize it. But for Mother Teresa, it did. And then they go, after they do the shooting star one, they go to the next tier, and then they do another miracle, another miracle, another miracle. That's okay, she's in heaven. Like she's in heaven. Just write it down. This is crazy, So she's one of those elite beings that made it to heaven. And they have 0 canonized people in hell. You have to guess and check for that one, because they don't want to induce the sin of despair either. Isaiah 1:18, no one's too far lost. Romans, 5:20. I'm not a huge fan of Romans 5 of whatever, but Romans 5:20. It says grace abounds, or sin abounds, grace abounds even more. So they don't want people like looking at a list of people in hell and being, oh no, And they want to give God a chance. Like they want to. Also, 2 Maccabees 12:46, my favorite verse in the Apocrypha, is a good and wholesome thought to pray for the dead, they may be loosed from sins. Anyway, Justin, for you specifically, I think you might be micro-idolizing
Sports, I mean, it might get your mind off the church because the church, you might be microdosing that too. And if you throw some sports in your diet, then the church will starve a little bit. So if you're microdosing the church and then you microidolize a different idol, then that idol takes away from the micro idol of that idol, and now you might have a perfect amount of love in your heart for the church. But God is very threatened always by your number two. And like for Holland, it would be his family, and for Bednar, it would be the word of God, the commandments, the law, knowledge itself. And he might be the only one that has an ounce of real pride in the entire Q15, because the other guys maybe have some, because Bednar has a lot of fake pride, which I have too, which is funny and fun and great, and it's not a sin, but it's cringe for people who don't understand. They don't know what's going on. Like Trump has a ton of fake arrogance. He used to have a little bit of true arrogance until the ear thing, and when his eardrum blew off, the true pride went with it. So he's been humble since then. But before that, it's like, it's whatever. But I mean, Trump, he's good at like talking, communicating and stuff, and navigating. But he's not super smart. Whereas Bednar, he's good at navigating, but he's also super smart. So Bednar has even more reason to be proud, I would argue, than Trump, if you just look at it through their eyes and stuff. But with it's just religious pride and stuff. I have seen Bednar cry before, which is pretty humbling. I just think he's proud compared to the other guys in that group. And it's because I have a Bednar joke. David Bednar leaves the Q70 frustrated, and he's panting, he's exhausted, and he breaks into the Q15 first meeting. I've arrived, it's like, oh, David's here, yay, he's arrived, he's arrived. And David A. Bednar is super humble, and he goes, finally, I get to be with the smart people. and Irene looks at him, and Uchtdorf looks at him, and Jeffrey Holland says, smart people. He says, you are the smart people. We called you up here because you have the gift of knowledge. That's the one we needed. I mean, we all have the gift of love and the gift of... It's like, finally we get a smart person in here. And he goes, oh, no. Anyways. It's pretty funny. But yeah, he's 1 Corinthians 8:1. If Bednar wasn't arrogant and prideful, then this verse wouldn't even be true. It says, knowledge puffs up, but love edifieth. And David Bednar, he's told stories about hanging out with his sister, brother, and he said he was literally pressing their buttons on purpose in a way that the parents wouldn't notice. So he was trolling, and he was like historical trolling, historical in-person trolling, and he was lighting his sisters on fire, and inflicting pain upon them. And I was like, yeah, this guy's wicked, but I like him though. But he's wicked. He's probably the most wicked one up there. And I was talking to Al Harris, and he says, I said Al Harris is 73, so he's 2 years his senior. Bednar is only 71, I believe, right now, and something like that. And I said, hey, does David Bednar know the Lord better than you? And I was like 80-90% sure he was gonna be like, well, yeah. But he knew the Lord so well, and he's very humble. But he goes, ooh, 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 ah, ooh, ah, oh, wait, David, David Benner, yes, yeah, yeah, probably not. I was like, really? And he had to say it like that for me to believe him. Because I believed him. Not just I believe that he believes it, but it's like he knows the Lord so much more than Bednar. And like, he was like, he's trying to be nice about it. Because Bednar is like an infant compared to Albert Harris. And he goes, yes, he has a big calling, but yeah, no. Yeah, it's just God. You want to look at God as deep ocean, but you can go. I've never said this in my life. This is inspired. You can go to the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Arctic, ice water, hot water. There's different oceans in the world, different depths, but it's all one ocean. Does that make sense? And Bednar has a lot of depth in one side of the ocean. And Albert Harris has traveled the world, and he might not have as much depth in where Bednar is, but he has so much depth in other sides of God. And he has so many spiritual experiences that are so ridiculously, like, Holy Spirit speaking to him in English and all sorts of stuff like that. And I was like, oh, would you like to share one? And it was probably the way I said it, but he was inspired to say no. Gems before pearls is what I call it. I was like, yeah, I knew. And as I was asking, I was like, he's not going to say it. He's not going to tell me. And I was okay with it, but it's like, I forced my flesh to get the question out, but it was like, this spirit didn't really even want me to ask it. Like, oh, just tell me one of your most sacred experiences really quick here at church. Like, when there's other people that could easily walk by at any time or whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe if I was at his house and we're just chilling and there's no one around, like, that might be a better environment if we were in the temple together. But at church, it's better at church than at the park or something, like with a park with a bunch of people. But it was an intimate setting. It wasn't intimate enough, and like and I didn't want it enough either. I just wanted it just to, eat an apple. I was like, I wasn't planning on growing by it. It was almost like I wanted to compare it to my experience. And I paused this video to talk about comparisons. There's unrighteous comparison, then there's righteous comparison. And people who don't want to compare, that's not good. I'm going to drop a swear word in about 45 seconds, and it's going to be the F word, which is pretty strong. So I want to prepare you for that. But I want to quote myself, and I don't want to hold back on it. There was this comedian, he was talking about this movie where, like, Taken 2 or Taken whatever, and they killed his dog or they stole his dog or something, and then he went and killed 60 people in response or something. And he says, when I first saw this movie, he had a different accent. He's like, when I first saw this movie, that is so unrealistic. That would never happen. And then I bought a dog. And I said, yep, that fits. That makes. And everyone bust up laughing because dog owners are insane, and like whatever. There's maybe a lot of dog owners in there, and just his delivery was really good. Comedians often have good delivery, and everyone's laughing and stuff. And I was actually watching it because Ben Shapiro. I was into Ben Shapiro. I don't like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a Jew that doesn't even really know God. I don't like Ben Shapiro, but he was great when he was young and humble and smart and blowing things up and making a difference. Now he's just this smug, arrogant, fat, little guy. He doesn't take no risks. And anyways, there's not enough time in the day, so I ended up unsubscribing. But he was doing this thing where he was reacting to shorts, and that was the shorts that he reacted to. And he looks at the camera, and he gave a great answer to that because he wasn't really buying it. And he says, half true. We love our dog, but I love the wife and the kids way more, which I thought was good that he said that. And I go down, and people are like, everyone in the comments is like worshiping their dog, and I love my dog. What are you talking about? And they're saying that Ben Shapiro is, and they're siding with the comedian, and they're going. Everyone's going. I call it idolatry, really. Everyone's like, oh, a dog, fluffy, and then finally I get to this comment, and this guy has the tear laughing emoji, and he says, I love my dog more than my wife. And I'm looking at it, I just knew it. He did. It's like, click reply, and I said, fuck you, bro. Or fuck you, man. Fuck you, bro, I think it was. Fuck you, man. Fuck you, bro. Hey, fuck you. Or no. Fuck you, bro. Hey, fuck you, man. Fuck you, man. And it was my Eric Smythe for Christ handle, too. So it's for Christ. So it's like coming through Christ, And I had to... the Holy Spirit, the God, the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit that I worship, they hate swear words, but they don't hate it more than other things. Like, they don't hate it. Like, they do. They hate it. They call it the devil's weapons. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to be taking the devil's weapons, and I'm going to be fucking the devil up with it. And God's just like, what? And he thinks it's so weird and interesting, but it's like, that's why we created humans, because it's the personality of God. It's some freaking weird stuff popping out. What the heck is this? And I had that in a dream when the guy put the gun in my face. Who do you work for? And you only had two choices, God or the devil. And I said, Jesus Christ, bitch. And then I woke up and I looked at God like, am I really worshiping a God that didn't know that I loved him over the devil? Or maybe, I don't know. Like, I'm looking up, I'm like, is God really a dumbass? But he just looked at all my sins and stuff. Because I made this prayer where I was cussing out Frank Turek, and there was no one around. I was at the park rolling on the ground. Because Frank Turek pisses me off, because he might as well be me. He has the exact amount of Bible verses memorized as me. They're just different verses. But it's like 200 to 300. We don't know. It's a lot, though. It's insane. He's an apologist. But he has, like, innuendos. He's super funny, quick-witted, but he's lukewarm. That's what I hate about him. He doesn't love God that much.
it's like he's a philosopher, and someone was like cussing me out. He's like, why would you hold him to the standard of a pastor? He's an apologist. He's supposed to be a regular guy, like a wanker. And I was like, yeah, but I hate regular people. That's what you don't realize. And everything he does strikes a nerve, because I'm looking at an older version of myself that's lukewarm, and it just pisses me off. So if you cuss someone out in prayer unrighteously, that's called witchcraft. So don't ever do that. But if it's righteous, then you're a green angel, which is not as good as a blue angel. The green angels are justice angels, and those ones have demands, and they want what's right. And a lot of them, like Bednar is the greenest angel I've ever seen out of a Latter-day Saint, and not just in the Q85, but anywhere. I don't know if I know. Well, maybe William Schill. I think William Schill might have Bednar beat. Let me think about it. Doug Harwood is another green angel, but he fights it though. So James 2:13, it says, mercy triumphs justice. So if you have a pound of mercy is worth more than a pound of justice, but people who think justice is worth more, they would never say that theologically, because the verse is right in front of their face. But if their heart is justice, then they identify with the truth. They say, well, yeah, and it might be, they might be a desirist. They might want to go blue, or they don't give a flying fox. I got other sins to work on. And I think, God lets green angels in heaven and all that. There's green angels in heaven. It's just a preference. Elder Hansen actually is he might be the most green angel. Nah, probably Bednar. Bednar's just the most. I don't know what to tell you. But if you hate evil, that makes you more green. If you forgive evil, if you justify it, if you have mercy, a good test is like someone that's not your family member does a crime in a state, and the judge has a choice between 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and 25 years. You don't know who he is. And, let's just say it's a crime that you don't like. What are you, in your heart of hearts, do you want the guy to get 25 years? He's a brother of humanity who's a criminal. Do you want 20 years, 5 or 15, and you can flesh it out. But people who want bigger sentences for crimes, bigger times for crimes, those are green angels. But you look at someone, and then it's double blue, or double green, triple green, quadruple green. Bednar is like a quadruple green angel. Well, then you could go blue. Most people are single blue or double blue, whatever. But then you could go triple blue, And a lot of the Sisters of Christ can get really, really, really blue. But you have to compare them to other women and stuff. But I think Uchtdorf is probably our bluest angel. Quadruple blue. That's as far as I go, because I don't want to learn the more words. But the quadruple blue will do it. You ask him about Adolf Hitler, and he says, Adolf Hitler, this is Uchtdorf. He goes, is that the guy who liked German Shepherds? And Bednar's like, you're kidding, dude. Like, even as a joke, you're kidding. Well, he would never judge anyone. Yeah, he wouldn't. Well, there you go. He's not judging. I have a joke. It's not a joke. It's just it's funny, but it's not a joke. David A. Bednar. I've never. So, spoiler alert. This is going to be a really good joke. David A. Bednar, Dieter F. Uchtdorf, and David A. Bednar, Dieter F. Uchtdorf, and Henry Bjaring walk in on a kid, or a guy with a kid with his hand in the cookie jar. Dieter F. Uchtdorf says, right away, I ain't judging. I ain't judging. And Henry Bjaring starts crying, and he says, I'm praying for you. He just doesn't move. He just, I'm praying for you. And David A. Bednar, grinding his teeth, says, repent. Which one's right? Which one's the most right? Which I was talking to Sam Stark, and he goes, "Well, who's more right? Is Brad Wilcox more right, or is Spencer Kimball more right?" And right away I said, "Brad Wilcox." It was so hilarious. And he didn't even hear me. He was like, keep talking. I have that clipped on my shorts if you want to watch that short again, because you've probably watched the whole debate by now. But it was like that was like one of the shorts. And I really like the Henry B. Eyring. He's like, I won't do anything. I won't say anything. I'll bring it to the Lord. And that is and that's probably the strongest one. I used to think the Bednar was the strongest. But prayers speak louder than actions. Righteous prayers speak louder than actions. My prayers speak louder than your actions. That's all I like to say. My friend Jackie, her husband got cancer or something, and this guy, her ex-boyfriend Jesse says, sending prayers your way, and she put a heart on it, and I come in and I said, sending stronger prayers than Jesse, and I put the prayer emoji, and she thought it was hilarious. She's like, puts the ha emoji, because she knows I'm so religious and all that. Anyway, it was just funny. But James 5:16, the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Anyways, the Bednar one at the end, repent. Proverbs 27:5, open rebuke is better than love in secret. So yeah, it's just a funny how the different personalities can look at the same thing and have 3 different approaches. I like Bednar because he's a straight shooter, and sometimes he'll do Q&A with his wife right next to him, and she's just like, be nice, because she's exactly the opposite of him. She's like a triple green. No, she's probably double blue rather. And then compared to the other girls in the Relief Society, she's probably a green angel. If you want to do, she's probably a relative. Well, no, sorry, you can't be green unless you pound for pound it, right? So she's probably a light blue. But there you go, light blue. Oh, you could even do Bednar is a quadruple. He's a quadruple dark green angel. A dark green angel. Dark green. That's the color, not the. And then blue, dark blue, and then light blue. Interesting. I know the truth. I know the church is true so much that when I get revelations that it's not true, I disagree with the revelations. I was like, what? You think I'm going to trust myself over all of these guys? Especially with the sin I have in my life. You don't think that there's maybe a chance that it's from the devil telling me that this church is not true? It's pretty strong, huh? Not to mention, anti-Mormons are pretty whack, and they're pretty sinful themselves. They don't bear good fruit. I mean, the anti-Mormons set themselves up as the beacon of truth, and that they're prophets. Well, guess what? You know the prophets by their fruits. And they say, oh, we're not prophets. Okay, well then why would I listen to you? You're not even a prophet. Checkmate, anti-Mormons. Checkmate, dude. Okay. Anyways, back to comparisons. I'll try to see if I can finish a thought here. Comparisons. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I told that guy, screw you, bro, on the dog, loving the dog. And I think it had a big impact on his life. I hope he read it and said, I was kidding. I don't know what happened there. Hopefully I prayed for him. Interesting. I don't know if I want to say that.
Anyways, comparisons. I have to say this. Macro. No, I don't want to say it. It's too off topic. It's too off topic. I'll tell you this. God gets more glory when you worship him and the statue of Baal is right next to you, begging for your worship, to deny it. And then human beings are made to worship. We're magnets. We have free will. But when you look at something, we're meant to gaze. We're powerless. We're quasi-powerless, infinite beings with infinite value that all the gods think have infinite value, including the God of gods and everything. So God, so there's these demons, and anyways, we're made to worship. God gets glory when we worship him. He gets more glory when we choose him over something else. The better the something else is, the more loved he feels, the more glorious he feels. And I think that's why monogamy, well, that's one of the many good things, one of the many great cool things about monogamy. Your wife really knows that she's number one. Because it's like, I love you and no one else. You know what I mean? With polygamy, you could have 20 wives, and they all come to the room at the same time and says, okay, who's number one? Who's number two? Who's number three? And you could tell them, okay, you're number one. The other 19 girls, boom, their heart breaks. and I wrote about this on CVM, but polygamy doesn't really work on Earth because humans are so idolatrous, and they idolize their husbands. And they idolize their husbands and wives. Everyone does. So that's where the jealousy comes in. But if everyone loved God, let's just say 100 times more than me, 200 times more than me, you look over to your wife, it's like, yeah, I love her a little bit, and then she dies, you don't even feel it. She cheats on you, you don't even really feel it because you're so in love with God. And it's like, oh, now I get to forgive her, I don't know, it's like, but if you don't love God as much as me, let alone 200 times more than me, the second greatest commandment, and humans take up a huge chunk of your heart. A lot of people, they would never, some admit it, but they would never admit this, but they love their family more than God. And that is an expression, and part of the reason is because your family is awesome, and I get that side of it. But the other thing is, everyone on earth has a low view of God. That's what Psalm 145 verse 3 says. Low view of God compared to what it should be. Even in heaven, God is underrated, right? And idolatry is created when you have a low view of God. And that's why the devil attacks God, his character. Oh, look at all this, or look at all the evil in the world. Look at what God's obviously putting up with, and then once you can attack his character, and then you got these doctrines of demons like Calvinism and predestination and stuff, misunderstanding of predestination. Predestination is just, here's your destiny, conditioned on your free will not going crazy, conditioned on you not losing your heart, and conditioned on you not doing triple, quadruple mortal sins, and conditioned on you repenting at some point, and it's a conditional destiny.
That's what predestination is. It's not an unconditional, fixed, precise, fixed line, whatever. But anyways, the essence of intellectual idolatry is the entertainment of thoughts about God that are unworthy of him. But Justin, what I would ask you is this: when it comes to the capitals and the God tracks the feelings that you get, that you have for everything. And sometimes you just sometimes you just have to cut off thoughts, and not that those thoughts were going to be bad. Proverbs 17:28. Even a fool who remains silent appears wise. James 1:19. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. It's pretty good. We have one mouth and two ears. For a reason, you know. But yeah, comparison is where you find out where your heart is. I mean, let's just say that guy loved his dog more than his wife. His wife has no idea. Right? No idea. And 5 years in the marriage, whatever, he says, or his wife says to him, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" "Okay." Who do you love more, me or Fluffy? Me or the dog? And he goes, I mean, no, he goes, "Ooh, that's a close one. I mean, are you serious? That's crazy, huh?" Now, she would have never known. Now, what if he just says, "Oh, let's say he's a really honest guy. Oh, I would say the dog, because you're kind of annoying sometimes." Or I'd say the dog. "Oh, I love this dog, and this dog only has 15 years to live, and you'll live a lot longer." And I don't know what his excuse could possibly be. "Oh, this dog just makes me feel good, you know." And just, "Oh, really? Your dog makes you feel good? Okay, it's crazy, huh?" Interesting. See how comparisons bring out information, brings out the heart. Get used to making difficult decisions. You know, I'll tell you this, Justin. I'll tell you this. I'm your best friend from the West Coast. Andrew Yang. Wicked man. He's wicked in a regular wicked way. Just wicked. He says, "I want to give everyone in America $1,000 a month, and I'm going to VAT tax to get it." Okay. It's the best thing he's ever said. Yeah. Except one thing. It's like, what? The poor people don't get it. Oh my gosh, dude. No way. Yeah, if you're on welfare, you got to get off of welfare to get it. Right. So they stay on welfare, then the prices go up because of the inflation from your policy. So you're going to, I think it's Proverbs 22:16.
He who takes from the rich, he who gives to the poor, he who gives to the rich, and he who takes from the poor, even they both are an abomination to the Lord. So UBI, where it goes to everyone, unconditional, is good for the poor because the inflation takes away the purchasing power of all the money the rich people have. They can protect themselves with assets, but the middle class kind of breaks even, and the poor take a benefit a decent amount on like a 1K, which would be a lot of money. But my idea is like $70, $77. It's hilarious. But it's perfect. It's perfect. You should get whatever. You can go out to eat once. But at least it's asymmetric net positive. It's cute. It's so cute, too. And they've already tried it in other countries and it works. Micro UBI. Just build it into your ID card. But anyways, the policy I really want is pro-life. And I'm not taking away pro-choice. You can still have your choice, but it's going to be illegal. Some people are only getting abortions because it's legal. If you want to get an abortion, if it's really that important to you, then you can. I'm sure you can find a way to break the law. In a zombie apocalypse, I run the red lights. Me. I don't listen to the Apostle Paul. I don't listen to the Livermore state laws. I'm being chased by a zombie. So, if you want to do that, but just this whole idea that's not only is it legal, it's not even taxed. I mean, at the very least, we could fine abortions. Really, you killed one of my distant relatives? I mean, if you kill a a bald eagle's egg, that's a fine. You aborted a bald eagle? How dare you? If you die in a car crash and your wife's next to you, that's a triple homicide. Why? She's pregnant. So you're telling me it's a baby? Absolutely. But not only is it legal and not taxed, it's subsidized. This world is wicked. Anyways, Andrew Yang also happened to be pro-choice. Could it get any better? Yeah, he's like the best guy the Democrats have. Sick. Sick, dude. Anyways, that was some character development. They start asking him some questions. Easy questions. You ever play video games? Yeah. What game did you play? StarCraft? What race? Oh, I played the humans and the protons. Okay. Then they start asking more questions. Finally. Ready? Listen carefully now, Justin. Justin, you listen carefully now. Salty or sweets? Oh, that's an interesting one. Classic. You know what he said? Dare I say both? Wow. It's the worst answer in Would You Rather. I mean, it's one thing to say neither. That's crazy. Neither. It's like, the whole point of the game is you gotta pick one, man. But both? You can't even pick when it's good. I mean, bad, it's like, get me out of here. I don't want to play this game. Neither. Okay, well, you lost. Oh. And you want to be president? Not only do you not know how to, I mean, listen. Not only do you not know your own taste, not only do you not know how to, not only do you not know your own taste buds, you don't even know how to make a decision. You don't know how to pretend to make a decision. Like, you can't choose between two hard decisions. It is a hard decision. Even for me, I like salty more as an adult by a large margin, and I like sweet as a child by a small margin. Because the salty stuff was way better too as a kid. But I thought about it a decent amount. I would have loved for him to just say, oh, this is a hard one. Let me tell you why it's hard. And then this is what I would choose at the end. And it's like, okay, that's your thought process. But his thought process was like, get me out of here. Get me out of here, both. Like, that's a hard one. That's a scary choice. You're gonna play that card this early? I can't vote for this. you don't know chips. You don't know sweets. You don't know anything. Aleppo. What is Aleppo? You know what Andrew Yang said? I had to look it up too, to be honest. Great. Well, hopefully he's got some good advisors, because that's my approach. My thing is, I only have 2 policies: pro-life, micro-UBI. That's it. Everything else is my cabinet. And my cabinet is dynamic, and the American people every month, they vote in someone into my cabinet. It's a new person every month. I'm running as a Democrat, and my goal is to lose to a Republican in the finals. But if I win, worst case scenario, I'm president. Great. I just need to become a candidate. 2058. 35 years old, born in the U.S., lived here for 21 years. Bam. Qualified. Bam! I've never talked to anyone that said they wouldn't vote for me. Ever. But there was a guy who said, not only could you not be president, you couldn't even be the manager at this casino. Which is very realistic. And he loved me. We talked for 2.5 hours. He was a Christian. He knew Bible verses, Bible stories. That's a good answer. I respect that answer, because that's legit. But everyone else was just like, oh, dude, yes, please. I've had in the last 16 years that pathetic voting. 20 years, lesser 2 evils. Well, when I'm spirit-filled, I want to take over the world. You know what I need? Justin Hubbard's prayers. I know what you're going to say. Well, they're just going to assassinate you. Not until they find out who my vice president is. You want him to be president now? Bam. Damn. I got, who's my VP? You know who my VP is? The Relief Society president at the time. Bam. You're gonna get, if you kill me, there's gonna be a righteous woman coming in. Bam. I don't know who my VP is. I was in this hospital resort. It was a hospital. I was praying in tongues. I said, I shouldn't have never said this, but I said LaMelo Ball something. But I was saying LaMelo Ball, and it was like, it was supposed to be figurative, but I was yelling. I I'm not gonna say what I said, but it was crazy what I was saying, and I was kind of like, I was being he's like that, which I love doing. It's a great way to conceal information and pray in your head, and I got the gift of tongues from Juanita. It's been very tonguey ever since. But when he asked, you want to go to the hospital? I was like, nah. And then I was like, wait, I should flip a coin. I should flip. I go to random.org and I roll whatever it was, 29. And I was like, yeah, Dad, I want to go there. I want to go to the hospital. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be for one day. But they impounded me, and now I got the worst part about it was the food. Really, I mean the environment's pretty bad, but we are so spoiled. Oh, I love food here, and I do. I don't think. I don't. Yeah, I micro-idolize food. I like it when other people micro-idolize things. I just don't like to admit it myself, for me. But I do kind of micro-idolize food. But after a week, I wanted to leave. It was the most normal I've ever been. I was a little, out there, but it was the most normal I've been compared to any other time I've ever been in a hospital ever. Because I really wasn't crazy. I wasn't. I was just spirit-filled and a little bit crazy. That's all. A little bit. Not a lot of it. Micro crazy. So I dip, and they said, yeah, we can actually transfer you to a resort ward or something. I don't know what it was. It was like a outpatient system where you're full-time. And so I go in there and get your phone, you get internet. And it was like going from the first spirit prison to the second spirit prison. What I found out later is I was praying with Gary Girardelli. And I said, I was praying aggressively to God, and I was like, I mean this. You can do what you want with my flesh. Like that. And Gary was like, you might not want to pray like that. And I was just one of those moods. You can do what like, throw me in the lion's den, And so God, as a joke, I think sent me to the hospital to show how much of an idiot I am, basically. You can't even handle a hospital and a hospital resort. Because I didn't like it to be in there. I was like, get me out of here. And it's all fun and games, signing up for the military, but then to actually go to war. Like signing that paper. Anyone could do that. But then when you go to war, they give you a gun and front line and sheesh. Oh, it's a crazy, crazy world. Anyways, I definitely don't want to be present for the power. It's the exact opposite. I'm gonna be hated just as much as Trump from the left, and I'm not gonna be as loved as much as Trump from the right. The people on the right, it's gonna be great. There's gonna be sound bites and all this stuff, but if I'm spirit-filled, that's what I would like to do. Because I'm gifted if I'm spirit-filled. If I'm not spirit-filled, things can get very awkward. Because I'll still have the knowledge, but I won't have any of the brilliance. And I'm not going to... It's going to be really awkward. I'll basically be like a below-average version of a politician who's righteous. If I'm not spirit-filled, which would... it's like... And when I say righteous, relative to the other politicians. Yeah. My cousin told me she had a revelation that God just likes her more than me. She loves her more than me.
And it was one reason: humility. And it was like she had the humility and a lot of it. And for me, I have a little bit of humility and a lot of fake arrogance and some real arrogance at times. um, and a little arrogance can, leavens the whole lump. There are some sins that don't leaven the whole lump, but that one is one that, like an unrighteous grudge, will leaven the whole lump. You won't even get into heaven with that. And pride, it's right up there. It's not as bad as the unrighteous grudge, definitely not, but it's still really bad. But like some other sins, like it's like kind of cringe. It's like a little bit of theft. It's like it's like whatever. But like some of the sins are like really deadly. And it's like, you have to also be humble to enjoy heaven. And if you bring in the pride, it's like, well, I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to say that. A video like this I consider to be very good. If the video was already trash, then I'd throw in some more trash. But this video I think is really good. No, I'm not going out there. It's like, I mean, talk about a little leaven that leavens the whole lump. I could say something bad right now and ruin the whole video. Especially at the end. If you're going to misspeak, do it in the beginning. Well, I don't know. Middle? Middle's probably the best. Because if you do it in the middle, if let's say you do it 11 minutes in, the first 10 minutes might have been amazing. Then the person's like, ooh, and it ruins it. They say, let's see if he recovers. And then they do. But if you ruin it in the first minute, they just back out of the video. They don't even see the other 20 minutes. And if you do it at the end, that's all they remember. So you lose everything that you had previously. So the best time for misspeak is in the middle. And actually my one misspeak at church was in the middle, which was glorious because it started off really good, and then it was the misspeak that leavened the lump, and then the bishop coughed because it was that bad. I looked over and I said, in my opinion, which was a really good thing to say, because then it weakened the statement, and then I hit a home run at the end. Spirit-filled, it was a quasi-scripted talk. I knew what I was going to say. And then I macroed into freestyle, and then that's where the misspeak came in. I didn't have a premeditated misspeak or anything. It was a misspeak that it was a comparison. I'll say it right now, even though it's going to be kind of embarrassing. I'll say it right now. And this is good because it's on topic. Oh, no wonder. So I was in church and I said, I was talking about high quantity prayers, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, pray without ceasing. and I was encouraging them to pray all day, every day, like me, because I'd been praying, what percentage? I don't know, 90% of the day at that time. I still serve the Lord at least a few seconds every minute now, but it's not what it was at that time. I was praying insane a lot. And I wanted them to do that because I just feel like a lot of our members pray for 5 minutes at night and then they forget about God. And it's fine for a lot of people. But I just wanted them to, do what I did and have the medium quality, low quality prayers mixed in throughout the day. And then you could have your prayers maybe on your knees at night or something. But it came out really bad, and 80%, there's 10 ways to interpret it, and 8 of them is just false and wicked, not wicked, but stupid and wrong. And then the other 2 ways are very controversial, and you'd have to interpret, and it might not even be true there either. But I said, it's probably better to have 8 hours of medium and low quality prayer than it is to have 5 minutes of high quality prayer. Now, which is, wow, what a statement. And that's in the bishop coughed. Now, obviously, I have home field advantage, so
I get to determine what it means, as well as determines what it means, as well as what it should mean and stuff. When I say low and medium quality prayers, I mean my low, medium, and I'm also talking about high quality, low quality, high quality, medium quality. So these are not low quality prayers that aren't heard, because remember, I'm talking to Latter-day Saints, so every one of us have high quality prayers because we're yoked with the Lord, we've been baptized, we all are quote unquote righteous. So our low quality prayers are gonna do great, and our medium quality our medium quality prayers are gonna do great. However, I underestimated the high quality prayers. But it's basically it's 480 medium against 5 minutes of high quality. Now I am a quantity over quality guy in real life. I would rather have 100 generic sodas than 50 name brand. But God is I am not God, and God is not me. I'm a child of God. He has sent me here. But you know, would you rather have 2,400 baseball cards that are valued around $1 each, or would you rather have one card that's worth $1,800? It's like the quantity guy is saying, well, I'll take the extra $600, thank you, but it's not very efficient. It's gonna be hard to sell, a little bit harder to sell them. In some cases, easier, but it's also just it's just a mess, and you have a bunch of crap, you have a bunch of junk, right? Does that make sense? Whereas the 1,800, you just have this one card, what is it called? It's something 10 out of 10, ST10, graded 10 out of 10, whatever it is, graded 10, grade 10. And God's taken the one card, and when I told the missionaries, they were surprised. I was like, yeah, it's because he's quality over quantity. Well, it turns out after the talk, the Holy Spirit was roasting me, and it doesn't matter how good the rest of the talk was. I didn't really like the talk at all, so I went into the other room. I went into my phone, and I explained the misspeak on Facebook, and then I said quality over quantity. James 1:6 is greater than 1 Thessalonians 5:17. That was my Facebook post, and then I get home. Okay, and I'm thinking, quality over quantity. And then like the next day, I was in my room, and it was quality over quantity again. And I said, God loves humans. God loves humans more than he loves animals. We know this, pound for pound, one for one. My question to God, and I texted Joel, I was like, how many animals would it take to equal an average human? Like, let's just say, I don't know, 20-year-old agnostic in America, image bearer of God, but then you have how many lions, tigers, and bears, basically. And I was thinking, is it in the thousands, millions, whatever? So I texted Joel. He's like, I have to think about that. I'll get back to you, because I think God has a very intimate relationship with all the animals that we don't know about. And I was just theory crafting. And then I love that I'm talking about this, by the way, because this goes into comparisons a lot here. Well, I'm chilling in the second room over here, and I'm talking to God, and I get a revelation. God says to me, what do you love more, your favorite Bible verse or peanut butter cup? Like the Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are good, and I love them. And I said, Bible verse. Very simple. Okay. How about 1,000 peanut butter cups? I knew this was going. Well, 1,000 peanut butter cups or favorite Bible? Well, favorite Bible verse. It's okay. How about a favorite Bible verse or 1,000,000 peanut butter cups? And I said, well, okay, I'll take the Bible verse. And the last one, listen carefully. Favorite Bible verse or an infinite amount of peanut butter cups? Infinities. And I said, I love the peanut butter cups, but I love it epithumia. I love the Bible verse, filio.
right? And the answer is Bible verse. And God says, in the same way, I love humans more than an infinite number of animals. One human over an infinite number of animals. Wow. So it's a different species argument. The Bible verse is a higher species than the peanut butter cup. Now, if it's the same species, like you could argue scripture study and prayer are the same species. I've only met one person that took the scriptures over prayer. And she was someone who prayed in tongues all the time that didn't read the Bible that much. To me, the Bible is like eating food. Luke 4:4, Matthew 4:4. And prayer is like water. You can go 3 days without water. You can go 3 weeks without food. And that's how it is with the scriptures. And also just, yeah, water's just better. And then maybe your theology would be oxygen. If you have a theology, yeah, I don't know. Just thought about that just now. Never said that before. But, let me think for a second. Yeah, so Sister Clay, I said, what's worth more? She said, I would say prayer. I said, what margin? 10%, 20%, 2 times better, 3 times better, 5 times better? And she goes, I'd say 2 times better. I said, okay, well, it's 15 times better, in my opinion. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. Now, if you haven't read the New Testament cover to cover, or if you haven't read, let's just say, a half of the Book of Mormon or the whole Book of Mormon, then maybe the scriptures are a little bit better that first time going through it. And if you're righteous and very righteous and close to the Lord, I think the prayer keeps going up and up in value. But I met Elder Richardson, and he said it's around 65x prayer. He's like, yeah, 65, 60, and then 60 plus. So it's uncapped. 60 to 400 is sometimes what I'll. That's kind of where I put him. 65 to 400x. Wow. But I love comparisons. And if you were better at it, you wouldn't be in this situation. Because now you have one of the biggest decisions of your life. You have no experience in comparisons. But I'll tell you this. This is not your decision. I just wanted to let you know this. This is not your decision. Your wife is God's decision. So you got to pray about this, and you got to ask for a dream. You got to ask God which one is the one, or if it's neither one. And you just got to believe it, trust it, and go with that. Don't trust your own understanding with the second biggest decision in your life. There are other decisions, a little bit less. And sometimes for me, I'll let God pick on the little decisions too. And I will coin flip a lot, or flip. You want me to show you how to flip? I'll show you how to flip. So you click on Chrome, go here, random.org pops up. 1 to 100. You could pick a frequency. Generally, you want to do 50-50. But you could do odd even. And, like for me, and then you could even change these. So this will determine how many more minutes I do this video. Approximately, not exact. But so I'll go till 12 if it's a 33, and I'll do 1 more minute if it's a 1. So you go like this. You say, Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Lord God, thank you for everything. Lord, please bless this video with Justin. Lord, please bless this flip and help me. I will
obey the result of this, and I will consider it your will. This is called the Liahona, Justin. You can Liahona this. Lord, just help me with the video length of this video. I say things to Jesus Christ, amen. So then once you pray like that, then you hit generate. We got 14 minutes. So I'll try to go to 32:42. 42 more minutes. So I'm going to ramble on here. 14 more minutes. 32:42. I don't think we have well, I can't. Oh! Well, I'll just go back to the video. I'll just watch 14 more minutes of your video. So let's start it at... This will be easy. So 25:15. We'll start you here. And then I'll just watch the end of the video. Well, I'm going to be responding as well. So let's do this. Ugh. I don't know what to do, actually. I'll just go back. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, but...
Call it
14 minutes.
I don't know. I'm not getting into that third eye stuff anymore. Not like that. Not like I used to, you know. But,
just keep it going.
I've been struggling a little bit. I've been struggling. Because the girl I like, and this is going to be whiny, the girl that I like is really cool. But I'm going back and forth about things because I like her and we're talking, but we're not dating, we're not exclusive, we're not like any of those things, you know. And we just met really like a week ago at singles conference. But the part I'm struggling with is she's a little younger than me. And she's like 4 years younger than me, basically. Which to me sounds great, right? Sounds great in theory, right? And there's another girl who I liked.
Girls usually like the older guys, so...
I guess I am attracted to her. I guess I'm attracted to her energy, basically. At times. But I'm also attracted to the fact that she likes me. And she's older. She's older than me. She's like 4 years older than me. So I've got 4 years younger, 4 years older, basically. And they are two ends of the spectrum. And I'm so not trying to like compare. I'm a dude and you think about things and you try to figure things out, right? Trying to figure things out, you gotta think about things. Regardless of whatever, situationally. But, yeah, so I've been leaning heavy favorite to younger, right? But I've been just kind of struggling with some things lately with her thoughts, kind of saying, you know, is she mature enough for me? Is she too immature? Is she too immature? Like, she's responsible, from what I can tell and understand. She's got a good job. She went to college. I mean, she's got a good job, good enough to pay her bills. And, but she's very, very chill. She's very, very chill. She's like that. She's millennial culture, basically. She's that age. And she's like, we're talking about like things are a vibe. And she uses that kind of language. And me describing it makes me sound old. But I just wonder sometimes because I'm like, dude, this stuff makes me cringe sometimes. And I really... I like doing stuff. I like getting things done. Of course, right? I mean, we all don't like waiting, right? But I don't want to play games. I don't want to wait and invest and wait and wait and wait and talk and talk and talk and chill and chill and chill. And never know the whole time where things are going. Never know which way is up. You know, so I had a really big prayer session last night where I was just like trying to figure things out. Praying to know about things because I'm just like, dog, you know, this is nuts. And the other girl who I felt was too old for me and too far away from me, I like her. I like her. I do like her. But I'm torn because I like the other one. And because I like the other one, I'm not a player. So I'm like, okay, well, obviously, you can't like both of them and be like, oh, I'm just going to flip between the two. No, these are human beings, and that's wrong. And that's not the type of person that I am. So I've been focusing more on the one, right? Because I am a one girl guy, like, duh, like as every person should be monogamous, you know? And so, of course, I mean, what a no-brainer. What to have to say that is ridiculous. But it's just been, yeah. I've told her some things straight up, like, and it's weird because I feel younger when I talk to her, but in a way, I also feel not degraded. Degraded is harsh. I'd say degraded at worst. I feel degraded at worst. I feel out of this galaxy at the best. So, definitely more good than bad, but at the same time, I'm trying to figure things out about, like, what's going on. And realistically, like I said, I just met her not long ago, and we had a really great time, and we hit things off in person. They were wonderful. But now that we're back home to our respective homes and home states, I feel like we're just, like, playing around. Not playing around, but, like, I feel like I don't have time for, like, lame conversations. I don't have time for just, like, yeah, I'm just chilling, so, I'm just, like, hanging out, like, not really doing anything, I don't have time for these long conversations like that. I don't have time for, like, this immature side that I see. It's immature to me. Because to me, and I know, when I was younger, when I was that age, I had a lot of the same kinds of thoughts and feelings going on. But I just feel like, what the heck? I feel like, come on, like, you should be ready by now. You should be done doing that by now. Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you be on, like, that whole what you want game? And, like, what I mean is, like, dude, don't you want a family? Don't you want a significant other? Don't you want that? And the vibe I get from her is kind of just like, well, maybe. Yeah, I guess. Yes, I guess. And so I'm like, dog, like, you're killing me. So it's just a struggle. It's a bit of a struggle because there's definitely a maturity gap. And girls are more mature than guys, typically. But I still tend to gravitate and click better with older girls. Because I'm not sitting here trying to talk about how mature I am, but I think that I'm more mature than the regular dude, maybe. I don't know, we're all different, right? But I feel more comfortable with older girls because I feel like that's where my maturity level is. And I don't know, it's very revealing, it's very interesting. I find things out this way and then I find things out that way. So it's very interesting. But I just kind of wanted to make a little vlog video and talk about this a little bit because I'm trying to figure things out, but at the same time, I also had this small epiphany a little while ago. I've been reading my art book because I got to catch up and read a chapter of my art book and really get with it with school because I'm in it and it has begun. I have to stay with it. So I have my hands full. I have enough to do already. I have my schoolwork to do. I have to stay up on it. But at the same time, I've been working really, really hard lately. I've been working really hard. I've been working really hard, and it's hard because I'm right now until like late July. Until then, I'm kind of in a place, and I will have a little bit of money coming in like in early July. So in a couple weeks, I'll have a little bit of nice little bit of money coming in. But in the meantime, I'm kind of struggling because I have to DoorDash for cash right now, and it's not easy. And I'm working hard to try to make that money, and it's hot and it's getting hotter. And so it's learning how to balance that. I'm literally learning how to be. I feel like I'm learning how to be right now in this situation, in this.
Okay. 37. What was that, 14? 23? How much more time do we have?
Time in this season, as people say, people always talk about what season they're in. I'm in a different season now, which I totally make fun of that, yet it's totally valid to me now. So it's going to be great to see Elder Morgan. He's younger too, so I can at least talk to him and maybe sympathize with him a little. He can help me. He can help me sympathize or something. But yeah, I don't know. I like this girl. I'm interested in her, but I feel like she's very surface level. I feel like she's not like, I don't know. I feel like she's very non-committal, which I guess is like, that's fine because like we're not in a relationship. But I just wish that she was a little bit more less waste of my time. Like, and I don't think she's trying to. She's just, man, no matter how I say this is going to sound wrong. I don't mean like she's slow. But here's the other thing I'm talking about this is my epiphany, okay? So I was doing my schoolwork, reading my art book, and I prayed. I was in a parking lot, door dashing, no orders, turned it off. So I prayed for help reading so I could focus and stuff. And God was like, go to a park. And I was like, okay, that's a great idea. So I went to a park, and there wasn't a park there. And so it was like bad GPS directions. So I just found a little place to park and just chilled there, turned my car off, put the windows down, try to get some shade and cool air, and chill. And the art, which is what my classes are about right now, film and art, both are film, both are art. And I'm sitting there reading my art book, and my assignment, I skimmed through my next assignment in art, and it's really cool. It's like everyday image journal. You take like 5 or 6 pictures or 10 pictors or how many pictures of everyday items from a different perspective, and you try to get people to look at things differently. And I'm like, yes, this is my jam. I love this exercise. I love this. This is really cool. So sitting there, I was looking at the surrounding, and I started seeing things that I could take pictures of. Like, this is really cool. So I started doing that. And so I started feeling myself kind of shifting into this mode of chill, basically, which was really cool. And I don't know, I got a lot on my mind, but I saw an old memory on Facebook from like 10 years ago of me and my 2 friends in Reno, and I was way immature. Then compared to like now, and like I don't know, like my 2 younger brothers, they're like just brothers, that's what I mean. And we're all just chilling, and it was a vibe, and we're just chilling by the river, you know, just chilling, doing everything, being free, enjoying life on our terms, basically. And then you have to be someone you're not in order to keep them, right? It's horrible. So, you know, just trying to figure it all out and keep balance, keep the right. I'm like being impatient, I guess. So, but am I being impatient or not? I'm trying to figure that out. So, and I don't want to lose who I am. I don't want to revert to a more immature version of myself, but I don't want to get old too fast, and I don't want to be older than I am, you know what I mean? I want to be just right. So I'm just trying to balance it all out, you know? And I guess everybody says stay cool, right? When it's hot, you always stay cool, you know? Well, it does become a necessity. When it gets so hot, and it's supposed to be like 98 degrees next week or whatever, you have to stay cool. That is a straight up necessity, because if you don't, you can be in trouble. And I guess so. I am trying to balance a lot of things. I'm trying to also balance my identity, because I don't want to be someone I'm not. I definitely don't want to become someone I'm not, or act like someone I'm not, just to impress someone else, like to impress a girl, or to like win over a girl. Like, what a joke would that be if you were someone you're not in order to win someone? Then you have them. Then you have to be someone you're not in order to keep them, right? It's horrible. So, you know, just trying to figure it all out and keep balance, keep the right perspective, keep my head on my shoulders the right way. Mm-hmm. And so I did get to FaceTime with her today, and I was a little bit more direct. I asked her if she wanted to FaceTime tonight sometime, and we did last night too for a few minutes, which was cool. But it's like, we've been doing Marco Polo app, which is like, you send something, I send something, then you watch it, then you send something, then I watch it, and then I send something. And it's nice, it's fun and everything, but I'm just like, I want more serious. I'm craving more seriousness. I'm craving more substance, basically. You know? Mm-hmm. So it's hard. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, I'm talking to this girl. I like this girl. She's talking to me. I think she likes me. We had a great time at the conference. But I also feel like she has the capacity to play games or be non-committal, or to be so passive or so whatever. So I'm trying not to read, and I'm trying not to read into it too much. I'm trying to just be, you know, so pardon me. I guess this is just me getting through things and just dealing with things. But so now you hear a little bit more. Now you know a little bit more about what I'm doing and what's going on or what I'm going through. It's not all that bad either. It's just I need to talk about it sometimes and get it clear.
Wow.
I've been resisting a lot of the younger culture, a lot of like the millennial culture, a lot of the like vibe culture, like a lot of the cringe culture or whatever, you know, all this, whatever, you can't even, whatever. It's hard to explain it, but I think you know what I'm talking about, just like the younger culture, because I don't necessarily.
Okay, I think that's going to be it. Great video, Justin.